night to be if we could try everything. I'm serious, let's make a list and just begin. What about danger? So what about risk? Let's climb this mountain before we cross that bridge. 'Cause I'm restless, I'm restless, I'm restless for whatever comes next. How wonderful to see a smile on your face. It cost farewell tears for a welcome home parade. A secret handshake between me and my one life. I'll find the silver lining no matter what the price. 'Cause I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry for whatever comes next. Let me tell you another secret of the trade. It feels like sinking when I'm standing in one place. So I look to the future and I book another flight. When everything feels heavy, I've learned to travel light. But I wanna be here, truly be here, to watch the ones that I love bloom. And I wanna make room to love them through and through and through and through the slow and barren seasons too. I feel hope deep in my bones. Tomorrow will be beautiful. Yeah, I'm ready, God, I'm ready. Oh, I'm ready, restless and hungry. I'm ready for whatever comes next.
Well, hello. It's so good to see you all, and welcome. This is quite the mix of different groups coming together tonight. So I want to say that this class originated from Find the Others, which is the event we held in Findhorn back in May, and I couldn't help myself but reference one of the Enneagram types, and then obviously knowing that the room mainly didn't understand the Enneagram, that it felt a bit mean to leave them to go and explore it on their own. So there are many people here from Find the Others. There are many people here who have been in community with me for, gosh, 8 years probably. There are some who are more recent. So a real group, you're very welcome, whether you have never been to anything I've done before or you've been to lots of things. And So good to see so many encouraging faces, because I have a confession to make. I don't plan to teach the Enneagram in the future, and I have never taught it before. And so, but I have studied it for over 10 years now. So I think I'm probably in decent shape to give you an introduction to it. And really, that's all that tonight is for, with a particular angle on it. And why am I doing that? Because two reasons. One is it's complicated. And second is it's been a bit pop psychology in the commercial world. And so if I left you out on your own to find your way through it, my concern for you would be, it would be pretty easy for you to land in places that are not particularly high quality, that have kind of taken some of the essence of what makes the Enneagram so special and just kind of commodified it like we love to do. And so tonight is meant to give you as clear an opening as I can, so that if you want to go and explore it further, you can go and do that in your own time and at your own pace. And I'm going to provide you with some of my most trusted resources. You'll get them in an email, but I'll also put them in the chat so that you have a way to source more information afterwards, a place to begin beyond this. So what I'm going to do, because we've only got an hour, is I'm going to invite you to chat with me in the chat, ask me questions, and if you need to, I will respond to them. We're a small enough group. There's, what, 33 of us tonight. We're a small enough group for me to be able to pick those up, and I'll try and guide you as we go along. But for now, just stay with me and let's see where we get to. So if you are familiar with the Enneagram at all, stick a yes in the comments or give me a wave just so I can see who's got some sense of it. Great, great, great. So some of us, are some of you familiar with it but kind of not feeling that solid with it? Like, give me a sense of that. A wave. Yeah, okay. So some of you, and if you've never seen it before, give me a no, or you've seen it but you have no clue really. Okay, Helen, so you've never seen it before. Great. I feel honored that I get to guide you through it. Yep, Christine, I've definitely mentioned it before. Okay, Wendy, Jean, right. So we're a good mix of some people who do know it a little bit and some people who don't know it at all. So I'm going to start in the most solid place I know how to, and I'm going to give you some context before we do that. So I'm going to show you the Enneagram diagram. We're going to work through the points of the Enneagram at a high level. I'm also going to give you some ideas about how you might bring the gift of the points that you sit at into the world. But before we do that, these are some ways to hold the Enneagram that matter. So treat the Enneagram as a map, not a mirror. It's not you. So whatever point you find you sit at, which you may or may not know by the end of this evening, but I will give you a tool to help you explore that further. It isn't you. It named your strategy for being in the world. That's different. So you can change your strategy and you can learn how to change it, but this is quite rooted in you, but it is not you. So to that point, the number you identify with is not your identity. The Enneagram is all about transcending, going beyond your strategy. It shows you your default mechanisms so that you can choose differently. So if you do work with the Enneagram and you want to know if it's working, it's because you become less like the type you sit at, not more. Right? So your job is not to identify with it and go, well, that's me, and that gives me an excuse for all the things that I do. It's to use it to become less of that and more of other things. And what it does is it shows you your motivation rather than your endemic behaviors. So it's really about why you might do some of the things you do. So for example, we could easily say, I sit at point 3, I'm an achiever, we'll get to that. I'm a workaholic. But we could also say people who sit at point 1 who are perfectionists are workaholics. But our motivation to be workaholics comes from entirely different places. A perfectionist wants to get things right and perfect. I just want to tick a load of boxes to be highly successful. Shame on me. Right? So it's different. You express parts of all points on the Enneagram. So the goal is really every point is trying to make its way to presence. That's what we're looking for. The goal is to inhabit the whole map. And you start with your point and then you work around. Hold your type loosely, please. I know that this is quite hard for me because I've been studying it for 10 years and sometimes I cling on to my type for love nor money. I have a bad habit of naming other people's behaviors through their types. But hold it loosely and hold it with love. It's not a box. It's a door out of some of the strategies that you're overplaying. So that's what it is. And use it in context. A 0.2, the helper living in Africa, is going to have a different cultural context than a 0.2 living in Japan. So there are contexts that come in that energize your thinking. So you don't want to have the Enneagram and nothing else. But it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul map. It's a beautiful route for transformation if you're willing to play with it. And after tonight, find teachers who are not conclusive. Anyone who gives you hard, solid stuff on the Enneagram is messing with you, right? It's more nuanced than that. You're looking for nuance. You are not looking for pop psychology. And lastly, if you really want to play, let it change you. The Enneagram is a call to courage. It's not a shortcut to comfort. So it's really this very beautiful place for you to sit with, oh, look at me. I do this. What would happen if I did something different? So they're your kind of guiding points. Let me introduce you to this diagram, which I have hand drawn, and you're going to see I haven't done it with like a ruler, so straight away you'll know I'm not sitting at 0.1. So here you go. If you haven't seen it before, the Enneagram diagram looks like this. You do not need to copy it. The reason I'm showing you it is so that you can see that there is a relationship between everything, and every point relates to other points. Very specifically, every point relates to two other points. Every point has wings that sit either side it, and every point sits in a different triad. So you don't need to know this yet, but you will come across it when you start to study it. And so I just want to show you what it looks like so it's familiar to you as you explore it later on. What I want to do tonight is work you through the points on the Enneagram so that you have a place to begin. The points are also referred to as types. If you don't like being put into a box, where are my 8s and 7s in the room? They will not like it. If you don't like being put into a box, then it's better to think about it as a point that you sit at rather than a type. But use what works for you. And what I want to tell you is this: nobody can tell you where you sit on the Enneagram. You discover it through exploration, through research, through trying things on. I'm going to give you a free access to a free test. It's not to do with me, it's free for everybody after this, that I believe is the best one out there. And some of you, it's still not going to be clear after that. And you can meet with Enneagram teachers who are willing to attempt to type you, but the best will not. So good news, bad news, because they'll say, try it on. Try this on and see if it comes to you. So some of you I know on this call have spent years thinking you sit at a certain point to discover that's not true. Right? And that's okay, because whatever point you explore, you're going to find some things anyway. But nobody, the masters will not type you. I can give you a clue though. With the exception of the 7s, who seem to be the only ones who like their type, you might be a little bit disappointed when your type is revealed to you, your point is revealed to you, because it's going to show you things you kind of hope nobody else sees. Right? So when I got mine, and I am poster girl sitting at type 3, at 0.3, I was a bit gutted. To be honest with you, I would have preferred to have got another one. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to even see myself. as someone who is out in the world trying to achieve all of the time. And yet when you read it, you kind of go, oh, this is naming parts of me that perhaps I don't want to name for myself. It also names your gifts, so please don't be too afraid of it, but it's gonna be that really beautiful kind of mirror for you to see some of those things. So each point has a basic fear, a center of intelligence, and a basic desire. And we use that as our routing to explore where the opportunities are for us to understand our strategies, see where they might be failing us or they might be overplayed, and move ourselves to the healthiest place, which is towards the center, towards presence. So every point has a route to presence. And I'm going to give you a resource tonight that allows you to dive into the types and shows you the points of health. So a range of 10 to 1. When we're at our worst, we are literally kind of in the kind of psychopathy, sociopathy kind of places. It's pretty bad at our worst. None of us are going to be at that on this call, I hope. And when we're at our best, we're so close to the other types, you can almost, you almost can't touch them. So here's a fun thing with the Enneagram. If you've seen it before, we have 9 types, 9 points that we sit at in the Enneagram. And because the Enneagram likes to be subversive, we never start at point 1. So we never start at point 1. And the reason we don't start at point 1 is kind of, there's many reasons, but sort of from a soul perspective, 1 is not the beginning. So from a mystical perspective, 1 is not the beginning, 1 is the response. But also because point 1 has a very particular way of being in the world, it's not so healthy for point 1 to go first. It's not so healthy for them to go first. And thirdly, there is a belief that the 2 best points to start with are point 8 and point 9, because they represent different things. And so tonight I'm going to start with point 8 on the Enneagram. If you were find the others, this is the type that knows anger best. Okay, so this is the type that knows anger best. So these are the ones you want to hang out with, because they're the ones who, if you want to explore anger more, these are the guys who know it. So type 8 sits in the body type, and it's known as the challenger. Type 8 is the challenger. What you get to do with this, by the way, is just sit with, is this resonant for me? You can also play with whether it's people you know. So here's how we would describe the challenger: powerful and dominating, generally in the world, which is neither good nor bad, right? So let's be clear about that. They're powerful and dominating, and their motivation, here's where it gets very beautiful, is to protect. So you'll often see the challengers in roles in life protecting others. They'll also do it in their family. So you don't mess with an 8's family. You really don't, because they are the archetypal protectors. Their motivation is to be in control, and their motivation is to remain strong at all times, because their basic fear is that they will be harmed or controlled by others, and that they are terrified of feeling weak or vulnerable. And so they're out in the world really putting their attention on their strengths and never allowing weakness or vulnerability through. That's a really tough spot for them. So words you might hear to describe an 8 are authoritative, strong-willed, confrontational, passionate, independent, outspoken. They have an unmistakable energy, an instinctive protection. They're all about strength. They're all about power. They are also incredibly, at their best, they're incredibly big-hearted. These guys are action-oriented, and they are kind of evolving allies in the world. They do best in roles or in purpose where they get to be the guardian of the downtrodden. Like, that's really their thing. And so they're all about justice, protecting the disadvantaged. These are the leaders we follow when times are tough. They are the people we listen to. They're who we look to for strength in times of pain. And they are highly capable of instrumental, sustainable change. They are full of energy, they have a lot of strength and assertiveness, and their capacity for action can be a wonder to behold. So they have some kind of good and challenging stuff, like we all do. Anyone in here think this might be familiar to them? Let's just check out. Give us a wave. Yeah, here we go. Chill. So you know it, Kelly. Yeah, definitely. And you know, there are others. Yeah, Shona, you're recognizing it too, right? And so what I want to say is you will have a primary type and you'll have a wing. And the wing sits next to the number you have. So if you're an 8, your wing would be 9 or it would be 7. They are the only wings you can have. And anyone who tells you you can have other wings is playing in the land of pop psychology. So the classic Enneagrams will not let you have numbers as wings that are not next to your actual type. So there's another thing to be aware of. Donna, I love that. All this time you thought you were a 1. And Anna's having a little moment about her husband. Well, let's see, right? I love that. Okay, so let's move on to the 9s. There's a theory out there are more 9s than any other. I'm not sure about that. I think more 9s show up to play with the Enneagram than the other types. Yeah, I think Tim could definitely have some 8 for people that I know. So the book I referenced, Kate, which you will get later, tonight I'm using a book called No Justice, No Peace. And in fact, let me drop some resources in here for you. I'm hoping they'll come through. You'll get these later anyway, so please don't worry about it. Written by a good friend of Donna and I's called Deborah Edgerton. And Deborah is the, oh, it's not letting me do it. Deborah is the president of the International Enneagram Association. So I'm not giving you thin content here. And the reason I'm using Deborah's work tonight is because Deborah works in social justice. And so she has a particular bent on the Enneagram, which is really about how you can use your natural strategies to be in service to other people. And if you're a wise rebel, you're often in that question. So there's your book, but you will get it by email. Can your type change depending on life stage, i.e. you're quite different now than before menopause? It isn't thought to change. What does happen is you get closer and closer to the center, and therefore you go closer and closer the other way. So you can move around the health levels of the type, and that presents quite differently. So the next one we've got is the peacemaker. Like I said, there's a theory there's more of them than anybody else. I think there's more of them show up for the Enneagram, to be honest. So they're known as the peacemaker. And again, they sit in the body center. So these are guys who have a relationship with what's going on in the body. The 8 sits in the body center too, but the ones in the middle of the body centers have no relationship with the thing they're in the center of. Fascinating. So the 8 will struggle to connect with their body, but they know they need to. That's one of the challenges for the 8. So the peacemaker, let's see who knows this one. Easygoing, self-effacing. Their motivation is centered around peace, harmony, and inner stability. And their basic fear is loss and separation. They absolutely energize themselves around never letting their inner peace be disrupted if possible. And that's terrifying for them. To have inner peace messed with, it's incredibly challenging for them. So they're not fans of conflict. And the words you can associate with a 9 are calm, quiet, easygoing, supportive, accommodating, hardworking, pragmatic, but also, interestingly, known for being stubborn and known for having repressed rage. So if you think about the 9, some of you are smiling, sitting next to the 8, 9s can have an 8 as their wing. So a 9 can be a peacemaker with a strong wing of challenger, but they don't like that anger, so they repress it. So they're living in quite a tension, the 9s, bless them, even though they're peacemakers. They're astonishing mediators, usually. This is a very natural place for them to go. They're on a crusade for connection. Really matters to them. They're big on compromise. And they can fall asleep when conflict is high. Like 9s are known for falling asleep in times of fight. And they repress their own feelings. which also means they can be volcanic in their eruptions, which is very surprising to everybody around them. So you've got this really challenging kind of to and fro that goes on with the 9. So their challenges, they need to stay present. They need to be alert to their emotions, one of their many challenges. What they're amazing at is communication and finding common ground. These guys are great referees in life. They're great peacemakers. They're great negotiators in conflict situations. And their still waters run really, really deep. Anyone think they recognize themselves in that one? Yeah, some of you are thinking about it. Often the 9s have to go away and check out whether they're 9s. They're never quite sure about themselves. It's one of the interesting things that comes up for them. So full permission to go around and play. So let's come to our favorite, not our favorite, but the ones who are not allowed to go first. They're 0.1, often known as the perfectionist. I've chosen to describe them as the idealist tonight. So if anyone's familiar, who knows Brené Brown's work? Yeah, so like the gift of imperfection. There's a 1 doing her work. Right, so she's talking about the challenge, and I have to say there's a lot of chat about Brené Brown being a 3. I've been in a room with her. There's no way she's a 3. This woman is detail oriented to the degree of insanity for someone who does not sit at 0.1. So the motivation of the idealist, the perfectionist, is integrity, being virtuous, and doing the right thing. But their right thing is incredibly precise. It's incredibly precise. It's incredibly boundary. They really are clear about what the right thing is. And their biggest fears are to be wrong, to make mistakes. And more importantly, they really, really would hate to be seen as corrupt. They don't want to do harm. So here are your words for the type 1, the idealist: principled, organized, fastidious, noble, highly critical, impatient, scolding, bless them, fair, and objective. So the challenge for the 1 is they automatically see what needs fixing. So a 1 never sees anything and says, isn't that perfect? It's just not an experience that they are familiar with on any level. They will walk into any scenario and their eyes will turn to what needs fixing. If you take work to them, it will always need improving. You need to know that. And it's very hard for them not to impose that on others. It's very challenging to not hold everybody else to their standards. Here's the 1 at their best, though. They guide humans to do better in every way. That's them at their best. They are trustworthy. Yeah, I love that, Jean. It might be you. They're truth tellers. They are a stand for what is good in the world. They are all about equity, and they make us stand straighter. They hold us to account. They hold us to account for what should occur in the world. And of course, their challenge is to move them away from purity into loving improvement. That's really what we're looking for with a 1. Nobody wants to hang around their purity. It's not fun for anyone who's not a 1. But we're all up for a bit of good improvement. Most of us are. And so that's the challenge for the 1s, to embrace that energy. And it's a minute by minute challenge for those who sit at 0.1. Who recognizes a little bit of themselves in this one? Let's have a look. Yeah, Claire, Wendy, Donna. Donna's holding the frame up to her face, right? So these guys, yeah, you think so. And if you think so, what you may find is this is a wing for you. So you might find you sit at 0.9 or you sit at 0.2. So let's see how you get on with 0.2, Christina, and see how this comes up for you. So we're now moving, we've done the 3 body types. Don't need to worry about this just yet. I'm landing types in that sense as a seed for you because you'll see more about it elsewhere. And now we're moving to the heart types, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. So we're going to start with 0.2, the helper. I think these guys are pretty easy to spot, to be honest. So let's play. These guys are loving individuals. They are highly interpersonal. Highly interpersonal. They are always showing up in service of others in actually very practical ways, typically. So their motivation is to be loved and to be needed. And their fear is really simple. You can just reverse it out for the twos. The most terrifying thing for them is to be unloved, unlovable, not wanted, and not needed by anybody. It's like, well, what's the point of me then? That's where the two goes as the helper. So here are your words for them: unconditional love, helpful, caring, generous, considerate, intrusive, because let's not pretend this is all good news, possessive, manipulative, coercive, patronizing, and empathetic. These are your words for the two. Some people blinking. So these guys are full of compassion and empathy. They are natural healers for humans in whatever way they choose to do that. They have such a strong desire to help. So even when they kind of don't want to in the room, they'll be the ones who put their hands up and volunteer for things. You can really spot the twos very readily. They will look for places where they can be kind and they can be compassionate, and they have a huge capacity for love. But the challenge for them is they can be trading. So I'm loving you so you will love me back. I'm doing this for you so you will notice me and need me and want me in your life. And they have a tendency, when they feel like nobody's appreciating them, so they're not getting the trade in return, to become kind of martyr-like. Nobody's noticing what I do around here. So they can get very annoyed with their families, very annoyed with their colleagues at work, because I'm doing everything for everybody and nobody even bloody notices it. They can feel very unappreciated. But here's what they do in collective. They bring a caring approach. They will notice people. And they make everyone try harder to be kind and compassionate. Because they're not doing it for you. They want us all to be like that. So that's what they always bring. But they can have a tendency to be the pack horse in the group, take on far more than they're capable of. And then they get annoyed when nobody notices. So who recognizes that? Who thinks they might have a relationship with that one? Let's have a look. Hello, Suzanne. Oh, Nikki, Wendy, Debs, yeah, Kat, yeah, great. So, oh, there you go, Christina, 100%, right? So you're thinking you have a relationship with one. We might find that you're a two-wing one, right? So that, Paula, great. So we've got a few of you thinking you know twos. Alrighty, let's go to the spot I know best, the achiever, point 3. A lot of debate about who is an achiever in the world. A lot of people get labeled with this one. So let's play. Let's give you a window into where I stand most comfortably, my strategies in the world. The threes are confident and they are success oriented. They're actually, secret thing about the threes, they're actually known to be one of the most anxious types on the whole grid. You just never see it. Right, so one of the things that threes do is enroll you in their anxiety fueled missions. Some of you will have had that experience with me for sure. Right, so this isn't going to work, this isn't going to happen, let me bring you in, we have to make a success of this, will be an energy of the three. So motivations for those who stand at point 3: to be valuable, to be desirable, to be successful, because their basic fear is that they are worthless. That's their basic fear. If I don't do things, then I am worth nothing in the world. They don't want to be a failure. They can turn failure into success like nobody else you'll ever see. So I think Richard Branson said once, he's never failed at anything because he's always got something from it. That is the language of a 3. Right? Because the PR machine is amazing for a 3. They can turn any old piece of shit into a success. Like, that is their gift. And they're terrified they're not impressive and that they have no value. So here are your words to identify with as a 3: hardworking, driven, ambitious. It's so lovely saying these out loud, knowing them, my friends. Motivated, pragmatic, egocentric, attention-seeking, social climber, arrogant, self-absorbed, distinguished. So at their best, those who sit at point 3 are the champions of hard work, authenticity, humanity, seeing and enabling strengths, and demonstrating what we are capable of as a human race. They're astonishingly determined, but they may be dishonest to keep faith. So threes have this great way of telling truth that leaves things out. That's probably how I would describe them. So truth that frames something in a particular way that they want you to see it as. And they protect their identity at all costs. Threes are very brand focused. So these are like the walking, living brands. They don't have to try. This is just who they are. There's a brand being polished all of the time. See me like this. See me like this. Some of you who know me well are laughing now. Yeah, right. So, and I know it. It's not that I don't, and I work very hard not to do it, right? But it's true. So there's a brand being cultivated all the time. But they are about advocacy and they are about possibility. Threes will take you at their best to places you never imagined were possible. Which is why if you ever do a program with me, there's always something on infinite possibility, right? It's always there. And I'm always like, we can move further, guys. Like there's more to create. Anyone want to come be friends with me? Who knows? Who thinks they're familiar with this one, or am I on my own tonight? Kelly, hi. Yeah, you're seeing some resonance there. Anyone else thinking they might have some? Wendy, yeah, great. Okay, and three's your wing, Nikki. Yeah, you're the two, right? Yeah, great. So let's move on then to point 4, the individualist. These are interesting to me. My wing is 2, but I need to get more familiar with my 4 because that's how I kind of balance myself out. And 4s, in my mind, can have quite a challenging life. So it's interesting to have it as my wing. So 4s are in the heart center again. They are sensitive and introspective. And their motivation is to be unique in the world. To be unique. Nobody understands me because I'm so different is often a line that will come from a 4. Nobody else is like me, so that's why you don't understand me. That's how they talk when they're in trouble. They want to be true to self and they want to be authentic. And their biggest fear is that they are not unique at all, that they are ordinary and that they could be considered mundane by others. And this fear tortures the 4. Right, to be clear, lots of artists are 4s. Lots of artists are 4s. That artistic expression of self, that kind of the tortured artist is like the archetypal image of the 4, not in hell. And so the words to describe them are creative, emotional, empathetic, connected, deep, artistic, romantic, tormented, self-conscious, hopeless, lost, authentic, eccentric. These guys have a deep capacity for beauty in an ugly world. Deep, deep, deep. They can really hold the darkness. In health, you will find no one better to sit with in a dark night of the soul than the 4. They can sit next to you very comfortably. And they have the capacity in a healthy place to transform pain and suffering. Because they're not unfamiliar with it and they're not afraid of it in the way that other energies are. In fact, some 4s will really believe it's the source of their creativity, like they can really own that. But at their worst, they are destructive of self and others. They are very fond of the victim position to stand at. They love to martyr themselves and they can be overly dramatic. So at their worst, these are a challenging type for those who are intolerant of that as a way of being to hang around. But in the world, what these guys do astonishingly well is hold space for the world to heal. So that's what the 4 does. The 4 hold space for the world to heal. They are pivotal in leading us to healing in chaos, which if you think about it is why we need art as an example to heal us when the world is troublesome out there. It's why we need poetry. These are the places that offer us balm. And I'm not saying the 4 is always an artist, but They are deeply creative. And so it's rare. I don't think I've ever come across one who is not a poet, even if it's not their job, or who doesn't play music beautifully, or who isn't on a stage, or who isn't creating something. There is an expression that comes from that place that is about them. And they will stand with people who are suffering, and they will see them. Oh, I'm going to come to why is the Enneagram considered to be true in a sec, Kelly. Yeah, great, lovely. Anyone have a familiarity with this one? Who thinks they might know it? Yeah, Kelly, you're talking about that one too. Yeah, lovely. I'm going to say why it's unlikely to be you, because I know you, but play with the 4, go and meet it. The 3s, 7s, and the 8s are known in the Enneagram as the assertives. So we are much more assertive in the external world than the 4 energy would be. The 4 is very introspective, but you go and sit with them as a type, as a point, because we can go to any point and learn from and with them, to see what they've got for you, and try it on. Like there's never any problem to try one on. It's like Mr. Ben, like for those of you who are that old, you can go in and out and try these things on and see how they get on. Why is it considered to be true? Well, that's a really great question. The Enneagram is actually widely held with a lot of respect, considering there isn't a lot of empirical scientific evidence on it. It's been going for a very long time, and it's not slated, actually, even by those who really live in the empirical scientist world. You will find them, but it's not, because it's considered to be a window to our soul work. So it's considered to be one of the best models we've got to explore transformation of the soul. So it's probably considered to be true in the same way that Buddhism is considered to be true, or Christianity is, if that makes sense. It's a place to rest with mysticality, if you want to go there, to rest with unanswerable questions in a way that other systems don't do. And it's pretty well respected for that. So true, I think it is seen, and I did my research on this because I knew somebody was going to ask me this question from you classic, who's going to, what are people going to ask? Because I want to be seen as well informed. Right, so it is respected as a route to help people sit with deeper questions. Does it need to be true to be that? Don't know. And it's known, there is a lot of evidence on people saying, I see things in the Enneagram that I've never seen anywhere else. So it maybe offers you questions that you don't get elsewhere. Yes, that's a great point, Suzanne. So Catholic retreats, individuals have offered it, they see an alignment. The Christian church, elements of it like it, as do some of the kind of Sufi traditions as well. They don't all like it. So the elements of the church that like rigidity and conformity are not fond of it. Richard Raw, who I know you would know, has got some amazing videos on YouTube where he teaches each of the types. So really worth an exploration because you like him. I know that you do. So yeah, definitely it definitely sits there. So let's go next to the 5, who I seem to have eaten. Oh, that's interesting. And the 6. How fun. This can't be true. Right, wait 1 second. I seem to have gone to the 7. Oh, you see, this is how you know I'm not a 1. Didn't check they were in order beforehand. Great, here we go. Here we go. Right, here's the 5. So the 5 is known as the investigator. The 5s, interestingly, where are they? Okay, here we go. So they sit in the head type. These guys are intense and cerebral. So they are your geeks and your nerds, in essence. The 5s just love a deep rabbit hole to go down. Their motivation is to be competent, knowledgeable, capable, and expert. So they can present like 1s. 1s have no desire to be experts. 1s are looking for virtuousness and goodness and perfection. 5s are looking to get as expert in something as they can. And their fear is being useless, uninformed, and incapable. So here's the thing I can tell you. You probably have somebody in your life who is an absolute nerd in a topic you are fascinated in. And in that circumstance, these guys are the best people to hang around, right? Because they've so much depth in a world that you love. But I bet you have somebody else in your life. I happen to have somebody who can talk about cricket for, well, probably till the day he dies, right? Definitely a 5, can give me all the detail, will take me through, you know, move by move, and I'll just be lost. Like, as my friend Richard says, birds will be singing in my head. Like, I literally have no interest or idea what he's talking about. This is how you spot the 5s. So the words for them are: they're intelligent, they're cerebral, they are wise, they are innovative, they are complex, they are independent, they are isolated. So 5s are not always easy to be in romantic relationship with. They're withdrawn, they're cynical, they are reclusive. These guys like to hermit with an idea. They're intellectually arrogant, they can be, and they're pioneering. So what do they bring to the world? Deep understanding. These guys are thinkers, they are experts, they are researchers, and they are precision workers. They are deeply, deeply knowledgeable. And what's their greatest challenge? They've never done enough. You can never get them out of the rabbit hole. I mean, never. So you'll say to a 5 about something they've been studying for like 20 years, you could write a book on this, and they'll go, I'm not quite ready yet. I've still got more to learn. So one of the losses around a 5 is you need like a 3 around them who can just pull things out, or a 7 who can pull things out of them, because you never quite get the genius of their work. And you know it's there, like you're longing for it. These guys drop sentences that have you just go, wow, amazing, like I want to hang around this person. So at their best, these guys are objective, impartial, wise experts. You can see how many of them end up as lawyers, who really point you in valuable directions. And they're innovative. They bring solutions with depth. That's what they bring. Just don't ask them to finish them, because that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. You want somebody else to do that for them. I love a 5 who hangs out in my world, I have to say. So anyone think they're familiar with this one? Anna, yeah, maybe. Anyone else? Let's see. Okay, yeah. Lewis. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, if they hang around in your world, they couldn't be more interesting. And if they don't, you'll kind of know it. So I saw the 6 hanging around in my not in order postcards. I know they're here. Let me just find them. 6 then, the loyalist. So these guys are committed and they are security oriented. If you ever want someone to check out whether you're safe in a scenario, you call on the 6. Like, security is at the heart of their thinking, and their motivation is to be safe in the world, to have certainty about what is coming next, to feel secure in themselves. And their basic fear is to live in an uncertain world, to be unsafe, and to have no support. My mom is a 6, so I can speak into this fairly easily. I'm very familiar with it energetically. She said to me she worked out she was a 6 once when somebody was talking about the Enneagram, and they said you can spot the 6s because they walk into a room and they'll know within minutes where the emergency exits are. Like, they literally know their way out. They have to know, if I'm going to be in here and I need to leave, like, how do I get out? And so they have this innate sense of where the risk is, where the danger might be. The words to describe them are loyal, reliable, security-oriented, hardworking, persevering, dependent, indecisive, fearful, anxious, and stubborn. Bless them. But in the world, these are the people who see the pitfalls and help us acknowledge them and work around them. Like, if there was ever a soul, like a head of the soul of health and safety, it would be the 6. Right? These are the guys who are risk assessing everywhere. And so they're so useful in a project because they will spot the places where other energetic types might just run ahead and do things. The sixes will consider all the options. They will play out all the scenarios. They are protectors in that sense of the group and of the project and of the family and of themselves. They will put stability into plans. That's what the six does. So if you've got a good six in the room, it won't fall, your plan won't fall apart easily. Here's the challenge for them. They can be frozen by fear and indecision. So what the six really struggles to do is back their own instinct. The six will almost always come and check it out with a bunch of other people. And the challenge about doing that for the sixes, a bunch of other people will all have different opinions. None of us have a whole group of people who all tell us the same thing. But in many ways, the six wants to be told when they're really struggling, just do this. And so the challenge for the six is to trust their inner knowing. And it's really hard for them. Like if I'm teaching inner knowing, you often find I can spot the sixes in the room because they don't really know what I'm talking about. Right? That's what's so challenging for them. It's just like, well, kind of show me. And does my inner knowing look like this? They'll ask those kind of questions because it's like, it's really quite alien to them. The more healthy they are, the more they have access to it. But this can be a real challenge. So who reckons they might sit at six? Let's have a look. Yeah, Sarah, Debs, great. Terry, yeah. Oh, Natalie, Paula. Okay, lovely. Yeah, this is the Enneagram racetrack. And that's what it's going to be tonight, right? And so you can just get to a place where you can kind of land with it. So then we come to point 7. And here's the thing about the sevens. Like I said to you at the beginning, I just feel this is the only type who love being their type. They are known as the enthusiasts or the epicures. Oh, Debs, right. Let me come from 9 to 6. So 9, 6s, and 3s sit in the triad of the Enneagram. So it's the only part of the diagram that draws a triangle. So they have very close relationship with each other. So it wouldn't surprise me to hear somebody say, I don't know if I'm a 9 or a 6. So you really get to sit with both of those. So the 3, 6s, and 9s, we're a bit extra special because not only do we have wings like everybody else, but we also have this holy triad that we play with. So yeah, play with them both and see which one becomes more likely for you. And I am going to give you guys a questionnaire. Yeah, Shona, sometimes that points to a 9, all the things. Well, it's really interesting because sometimes people start to teach from 9 because 9 is considered almost to be the point beyond. When 9 gets to presence, it's like the point beyond ego. It is kind of the representation of all things, interestingly. Essence, 9 is the representation of essence. So that's quite a profound point you made there. So let's get to the 7. They are known as the enthusiast. And sometimes they're known as the epicure. Personally, I think you can spot these dudes a mile off. Richard Raw says you can usually spot a 7 because they're in love with the color orange. I know Karen's wearing orange. So let's see. So my husband, who is a 7, you can literally walk into any shoe shop, and if there's a tiny orange flash on something, he wants it. If there's like a jacket with a little orange flash on it, John is there in an instant. It's quite funny. And so that's a bit of pop psychology, but I will say on my test of several 7s that I know, I do know one who doesn't particularly relate to 7. Orange quite likes it, but doesn't relate to it that fully. So here's your 7. They are busy, fun-loving individuals. I love orange, but I'm definitely not a 7. Yeah, that's great. I love orange too, Kat, but I don't do it with quite the obsession. I'm not an orange collector in the way my husband is. Their motivation is to be happy, to be content, to be free to choose. And their biggest fears are to be deprived, to be in pain, to be trapped, to have no freedom. These are like the kings and queens of FOMO, fear of missing out. Everywhere they turn, there is opportunity in the world and they want to play with it, but they will avoid pain at all costs. I mean, it's really interesting. Bless him, he has to be the example tonight because it's just easy for me because I live with one. John will not be trapped by a frozen shoulder, for example. So he doesn't want the pain to be there. He's researching it like there's no tomorrow, which is hilarious because I've had trapped nerves for like 20 years. My opinion doesn't count because I'm not giving him a fix quick enough. And he will still play golf all the way through it because nobody's having his freedom, even though it's making it worse, right? So it's classic at point 7, what kind of goes on for them. So the words to describe them: enthusiastic, curious, joyful, adventurous, bold, fast. No, it's nothing to do with golf fun. It's to do with freedom, right? It's to do with freedom. Bold, fast, spontaneous, scattered. These are the dudes that come to you with a new idea every day, right? To be clear. Self-centered, denial, erratic, avoidance, and humorous. 7s usually have a really vibrant sense of humor. These are your idea generators. They got more ideas than they know what to do with. Do not fall for the idea that they are going to be doing them all, because that is a lie, right? They are just idea generators. They are everywhere they turn, and they're all the best ideas ever, right? They are inundated with ideas, right? Yeah. Well, you probably ask, Cal, you sit in the 7-8 space, no doubt, right? For me, at least, I'm not allowed to type you, but you'll recognize this. They see possibility everywhere. They are the energizers in the room. They are incredibly visionary because they see this possibility everywhere they go. And they're not afraid to take scary paths. In fact, they like the look of them because they signify adventure. They don't want pain, but they're not afraid of the unknown in the way that other types might be. They avoid pain and suffering at all costs. These are guys that like, get pain off me, get suffering off me. They have no interest in what it might have for them. I just don't want to have it. That's an experience I would like to skip in my life. And they run from their emotions, although they can be incredibly anxious inside. These guys are like, particularly because he's orange, if you know this reference, these guys are like living tigers. This is who they are. Boundless energy, delightful to be around, exhausting to be around. Never a dull moment, spontaneous, and they like it. Like, of all the types that are unlikely to do their work, it's the 7, right? Because they're like, why would I sit down and look at myself? What on earth is interesting about that when I can be out in the world playing? And they will come and surface the Enneagram. They will come and surface it. And at some point, something in their life will happen. That means they have to sit in it in a different way. But they're unlikely to walk there super willingly. Probably how I would describe it. These are not the people who will sit. I'm laughing now, I'm about to speak about you, Kelly. They won't sit in a room still for 3 days like I would and take notes. Like, that's not going to happen. And so you can spot them very easily. What they do for us all is they inspire opportunity and possibility, and they bring. These are the guys, when you say how are you, they answer fabulous. You know, they just bring this sense of happiness into the world, even when they're not happy themselves. Like, they're really going to show up like this. They can have very high anxiety. It's not that they don't, but they won't really. You're better off getting a 7 to work through their anxiety, going kayaking, creating art, than you are to, say, sit on a chair while I talk to you about anxiety. Right? That's a better way to work with it. Anyone recognize the 7? Let's have a look. Yvonne, Kelly, yeah, she's giving us a big wave now. She's gone off being a 4, haven't you? Okay, yeah, lovely, lovely. So in 1 hour, guys, what I've done is whip you through a whole load of places you can play. What I'm going to do here, and you're going to get this in an email to us, I'm just going to put some links in the chat. I've given you a link to Deborah's book already. I am now giving you a link to another book, which has a lot of detail about types. That you can go to the health ranges. I'm going to put a test in there. The Enneagram tests are thought to be about 60-70% accurate. You may not get the answer here. You may go and read about your type again and feel like that's not me. That's okay. Don't take it for now. If you see it and go, I don't want that to be me, that's different, by the way. So, and I'm giving you a link to the Enneagram Institute, where those of you who will not read books, can just go and explore types at a greater level of detail. So there's some stuff there, and you can just copy and paste it. This is the best Enneagram test I know. It's totally free. You do the classic test because there's a second one about instincts, and we've done nothing on instincts tonight. And it's not my intention to do that with you. So that's the test you're going to do. Until there you go. I tried very hard not to be an 8 for a year. So this is an opening for you. This means when you, hopefully when you go out into the world, you'll have remembered some of this, you'll have some relationship with it, so that when you see people introducing it, you have some ground to stand on. That's all I want to offer you tonight. And these resources I trust. And I really have been studying this work for about 12 years. So these are resources I validate on your behalf. I am the cosmic librarian, lots of you know that. So these are ones I back as having solidity to them. And I'm going to send you the resources tomorrow. And I'm going to share a little bit with you if you want to know more about the Odyssey, which is our program that we start in September, which is a soul journey with me, where we meet once a month. And I teach classes like this, so one-off classes on topics that allow you to kind of travel with your soul. But there's no requirement for you to do any of that. You are the first and possibly the last time I will ever teach the Enneagram. So I thank you for being with me with it. I really hope you got something from it, and that it's whet your appetite. This is a lovely, lovely tool to use to give yourself powerful questions and inquiries about how you can transcend some of the strategies that you overplay in the world. So blessings on your evening. We finished 1 minute late. I like to finish on time, not quite right for the ones. It's a total pleasure to be with you, and I will be in touch with resources. Take care, guys.